first time. Stef is at the helm and he's instructing how to do it to Sacha, who is actually at the ropes. We zijn op vakantie! Another episode of Sailing Windrows, an episode where we have 2 weeks of summer holiday with the full family going on windrows. Super exciting. And it started with a high pressure area, throwing around thunderstorms, which actually made that the first day we couldn't take off. But the second day we could. We departed early and we headed to Volendam. Well, at least it's comfortable. It's 7 knots of wind and doing 6 knots of boat speed through water, which basically means over ground it's about 4. Sailing for the Horse of Marke and towards the Horse of Marke, and just counted, we saw 29 ships on the water, so we're not on our own. We might feel on our own, but we're not. The Horse of Marken in the construction outfit. I think they're probably painting it. I actually don't know. And some sunbathers right below it. So we made it halfway point. We made it, and we're in Volendam again. Like a lot of the harbors. Beautiful, nice little harbor. I actually didn't see those houses yet. So the first thing we did was walk the dog, because he had been on the boat for quite a while and he kind of needs to use the toilet every now and then. And our dog is a special dog, as it is a duck tolling retriever. He loves to swim. After swimming with Cooper, we decided to go to the city center of Volendam, which is a bit of a village actually. Had an ice cream, had a lot of rain and thunder, the predicted one, so we did our calculations correctly, and after that went back. So we just survived the thunderstorms. It was raining and it was like ooh.
Dan ga je eten halen even op.
Het is al bijna koud.
Sorry. I had checked the weather maps and it showed that again there would be thunderstorms. So in the morning after lunch we took off. On the approach to Enkhuizen, did half of the trip on the engine, because there was predicted a thunderstorm, and I'm not sure if it comes, but if it comes I don't want to be in it. So we did 2.6 knots well under Melkmeisje. We did that for about 2 hours, and then we started the engine to just make some speed. So we're doing 7, 5.5 over ground, 5-ish. Not the fastest ship, but with the dog, Stef and Sacha on board, I don't want to take a risk and get into a thunderstorm. So you will always see that in the end it will, as we say in Dutch, waait over. It will go away without a pain, and we could have sailed, but then again the wind is already picking up. There were gusts predicted and code yellow, so yeah, we need to make some stamina, create some stamina to maintain this, but then maybe not on your holiday with your entire family and the dog. So if it would have been for me, I probably would have sailed, but in all honesty I think this is the wise decision to keep it fun. It's not always easy, to be honest. Sailing is a lot of like, you want to go somewhere in a certain period of time because you book your holiday, so you have 2 weeks, so you think like, wow, plenty of time there, right? But you know, without you know it, we lost 1 day because there were thunderstorms predicted. Now we have 2 days of strong winds, like 7-ish gusts, 7 plus. You don't want to be on the IJsselmeer with gusts of 7. So we're going to be in Enkhuizen for 2 days. We're going to take a lot of time to relax there and yeah, think things over. Like what is it that we like? What is it that we don't like? What does it do to us? How can we improve it? What do we then need to do for that? So yeah, start enjoying. Because up to now it's not just fun, actually. It's a lot of inner stress that you need to cope with, and I need to cope with as well. We need to see what that means. So we arrived in Enkhuizen after a contemplating sail, where we kind of dodged the weather, which in the end obviously didn't came through. But while being in the harbor, Bart reached out and said, "Hey, you intros," and he said, "Yeah, I'm a follower on YouTube." I was like, "Oh wow, that's like super funny that you are recognized in the harbor." But so Bart, nice to meet you, and yeah, well, I will just keep on doing what I'm doing. Oh, and I almost forgot to tell, Bart has a toller as well. Ah, good. Sing dogs. After having a good meal, which is also good for morale, it was time to explore Enkhuizen. So Bart indicated his parents were coming over with a cargo ship. I'm not sure which cargo ship. It could be one of these two. What a job that must be to boat such a thing. At the marina, they actually have a huge marina. It's called the Compagnie Haven. They have good facilities, it's spacious, and there are heaps of boats. From there, with the dog, also good. You can go out walking fairly easy in parks and walk around quite a bit. It's an old city, so they have quite some history, some memories on the Second World War, which is a big thing in the Netherlands, but also houses that are old, bridges that are old but fortunately functioning, which I think is always fun. And fortunately they also have the more modern places like the Albert Heijn, where you can buy your stuff. By the way, Albert Heijn has quite a heritage in the Netherlands, but it's one of the most favorite grocery stores, I think. Well known at least. So walking back from the city is also very easy to the Compagnie Haven. Everything is very close by, so yeah, I actually like it a lot. After walking around, it was time to explore the area with the dinghy. Also great fun. Bought a new dinghy. I'm gonna make an episode on that. But from the water, everything always looks different, and we explored, as we learned later, the outer edges of the Zuiderzee Museum. So we wanted to go to the master bar, but the master bar was full. So now we have 0.0 champagne, the three of us, because yeah, we can. Proost. To our YouTube careers. And the noodle soup my wife made. Really good. And Cooper is enjoying his basket.
Then go down.
So today blowing is 35 and expected to be big picking up to 6 with gusts of 7. So it's going to be a day in the harbor with a lot of fun. But it's a beautiful day in any case.
Weather wasn't all that stable. It started raining later in the day, so we figured let's do something that you can do inside. And what better way to spend your day with your son by going karting. So normally always about peace and tranquility, and now it's karting. Woohoo! So in your kart number 2. So after 2 heats and a draw, quick learner, Stef, on go-karting. It was time to go back home and visit the Mustang Bar, where we were treated on some nice beers, a good menu card, and actually also in Dutch we say toegift from the KNRM. So it's actually all about the background there, because it's the guys from the Koninklijke. Go out of the picture, please. The guys from the
Denmark.
Dutch.
The Royal Dutch Navy Redding.
It's all about the Dutch Redding Brigade here. There's a lot of them. Jesus, it's like how many are on the boat? Okay, and they're going out. Hello. Would it be practicing or would it be for real? Well, looking at the speed is practicing. Very hard to see, but there's even a chopper involved. I think in the end it was a drill, because they came back a couple of times and they were super relaxed, didn't put the pedal to the metal. And I'm super happy with these drills because it makes them better in what they do. And if we need them, or if I would need them, yeah, they know what to do. Having that said, we concluded the evening, and next day thought, what are we going to do? Because again, there was quite a bit of wind, as predicted, but still. So we concluded that that day we would go out to the Zuiderzee Museum. We're in the Zuiderzee Museum, and in the Zuiderzee Museum there are Zuiderzee things. Let's check it out. A museum which I found later is actually quite interesting. They basically looked up houses in the Zuiderzee area, picked them up, put them down there, and from that made a story of what people at that time were actually doing. So by walking through the museum, you would go through all the different professions of that time. It smells as it looks, like fish. Herring, but it is huge herring. Like, look at the size of this thing. Oh, but they actually smoke it, still use it. It smells like smoked herring indeed. This is real fish. I'm not joking. This is the herring smoke depot. There you have the smit, and there you have the thing that you contain the nets. Yeah, it smells. It smells how it looks. This whole thing smells like how it looks. So it's not only for Christmas that they do it, but probably it's because the stove is there. Jesus, it smells like really old.
Jeetje, wat kunnen jullie dit snel? Ah, dat is een handigheid. Als de speten klaar zijn, kunnen ze met die bak in de hoek. De mannen die hangen ze dan later op in de rokerij.
Now clearly the village can't only be houses, because this fish needs to come from somewhere. And for that they actually recreated part of a old fisherman's fleet. Oh. I won't fit in fully. Oh, kijk dit dan. Ah. bed stay. Another bed stay. Ropes. And that's the cargo hold then, I guess. Below the ladder. It was quite insightful to find some maps on board of that boat that showed what had happened to their fishing grounds during the years. You can see that this is open near Amsterdam. And it was really called the Southern Sea. When it was a sea. So here you see there is no dike, no offside dike. It was just sea. Here it's just sea. And then here on this map you can actually see that we made a dike. And then probably, I can't see the other end, but we are like here and there's another dike. And if you have boats, you have a place where you can fix them. I don't know the English word for this, but they hammer this in and then they put, we call it teer on it. And that's what they were doing here. But what are you gonna do with all the fish? If you can't put it in the fridge, you put it in a tonnetje. There's a whole pile of them to make a tonnetje. So they make a whole bunch of them. There's a huge stack here. And they put them in a ring and then they make a tonnetje. So it's quite a complex job actually. And on a tonnetje goes a steel ring. So where are you gonna get a steel ring in 1800 and something? Yes, at the smith. Want u bent smid of...
Nou ja, ik ben het hier zeg maar min of meer geworden.
Oh, wat leuk.
Ja, het is leuk werk hoor.
Ja, met een soort puzzelen is het eigenlijk, hè? Oh, je voelt de warmte.
Ja, het is heet hoor. Ik heb er nou geen last van, maar als de zon naar binnen schijnt.
Ja, het is net iets kleiner.
Ja, dan kan je beter zien.
Ja.
Ja, ik denk dat hij zo wel aardig is.
So in this case the smith was actually not making a ring for a tonnetje, but he was making a pin to pre-drill a hole in a boom in order to not splice the wood when they put in the connector to the mast. There is a word for that, I just don't know it. In Dutch we call it, it's the gooseneck. It's the gooseneck. So in the end I think we have all the ingredients to have a successful village except for faith. So you need to have the faith as well. For that they erected a church. I think a very good idea. And obviously besides faith it's also important to just educate people a little bit on how to fish, I guess, or other interesting stuff like aapnoot mis. And that they did in the school, where I actually think they went to the next level because they even brought in a school kid in full uniform for us. It's just like, dang it, that is like properly done. You can talk about herring, but actually I think especially because the herrings here were so big and so fresh, I thought I should try one as well. So that I did. I bought one of these smoked herrings at the herring cart, and I actually don't have a video of eating it, and I think that's a good thing because there were heaps of graten, we call it in Dutch. It's like bones, little bones in it, which didn't really make it that yummy, but yeah, the experience itself was quite interesting indeed. I actually think that time has improved this practice. It's a bit of a messy way to eat a fish. So we didn't want to leave the scenery without seeing a bit of a mixture of the old and the new, where in a Delft blue form a famous Dutch graffiti artist actually created quite a nice interior for your house.
So this is what we call Delft blue. But Delft blue with a twist. So you see some Delft blue pinups here. Ship. Grapes. And just stories in Delft blue. But the red thread in everything is fresh fish.
So after a successful visit to the Zuiderzee Museum, only the outside part, actually we haven't seen the inside part. It was time to head back to the boat. In the afternoon I worked on the wind vane. There was a separate series actually on the wind vane that I will link to in here. Once that was done, there was some time for contemplation on the further plan of the holiday.
So if this trip is about learning things, I think we've learned two things. One, you need a weather window, so you need time, plenty of time. And two, sailing with the dog that's not used to sail and is quite big is not ideal. So we need to look for a solution there as well. And last but not least, you should not be worried about 6 or 7, both 4. So you need to prepare for that and practice actually. So going to cut the vacation holiday in half and go to France and then return later on a weekend that we had planned to sail together without Stef and without the dog. Whatever weather comes, and then let's try to do a round of North Holland. Let's see how that goes and watch back this video later to conclude.
Helmsman at work, and here we're entering the lowest part of the IJsselmeer. Zet hem aan de bandje bij. Markenmeer actually. About ready to set sail, but wind. And today we have a close reaching wind, and Sacha is nailing it. For those of you that have already seen it in the previous episode, you might fast forward a little bit, but I did want to remind you that it was this particular moment, not so sunny, a little bit windy, but when we started the wind pilot, it worked. Zonnehandjes! Woohoo! It works! Oh my god! This is like amazing! Look! It works! Ah, fuck! Okay, sorry, that makes me very happy. Look! Look at that! It just works! Fucking magic! And look, Peter, I think I trimmed the sails correctly, right? Doesn't do a lot.
En handjes in de lucht.
La 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 la. Oh, dit is echt weird. It just works out of the box. The horse of Marken is back. We have Stef at the helm. It's raining, we're sailing, and we're not the only nutheads that are out here. And actually, finally, the wind has begun its great turn towards the west. So we are slowly but steadily following the wind, changing course, setting more and more direction, a straight course to home. So that's interesting.
It's raining men! Oh nee.
I'm alive! Not the most comfortable way to be alive. Jesus, it's pissing. Really pissing. Okay, I gave up. So we put the engine on. And it's quite comfy. The problem is there is a blocked area here. So we had to do zigzagging over there like 10 times. And the wind was backing down, was not backing down, it's going to pick up in about 2 hours. So I just figured put the diesel on. You know what the point is when you actually make it again to a destination. It actually doesn't matter that much which destination. It's always a little bit of a victory. That's at least how I feel about it. I'm quite tired because it took 8 hours as anticipated, but still, that's long. Exactly at the moment when we wanted to dock the ship, there were quite some gusts, which resulted in a bit of messy docking. So, nearly broke the wind vane off again.
Zal ik dingen aangeven, Stef, verbranden?
By hitting the house. So it's a bit of a tight squeeze, and I already thought that the MF3 was a bit large. And it is large, it's an even tighter fit. So yeah, made a mistake in steering it in, and now I feel grumpy. Everybody feels grumpy, but the dog is very happy to be home again. A long video, but a video where we learned a lot. If you have any comments on it, please leave them below. I really love to read them and learn from you. Maybe I can do things different. Maybe you have an opinion on how things went. Really love to learn. Sorry, bekkenbreker. If you're curious how the trip continues, I advise you to watch next video, because there we are going to sail with Sacha and myself without the dog. And that trip actually does not go according to what I expected from it, which is also fun. So, curious, hit subscribe, and see you next time on Sailing Windrose. Cheers, boys and girls. Sailing Windrose. Our cookies are still good. So this is summer. It's like 6 months. Really good cookies.
Godverdamme.